To answer the first question, what do you think of the article? The article postulates that early childhood experiences, like having warm and supportive parents, correlates to success in adulthood. To conclusively agree with this, I would have to answer the question, do inherited traits or life experiences play a greater role in shaping personality? In short, I saw the article as a modern take on the nurture versus nature debate, which I find intriguing. All right, for question number 2, do you think it's possible that emotional support can affect the education, social life, and romantic relationships in adulthood? Why or why not? Okay, so in the article, there's a reference to the first study published in Child Development, which found that the emotional support that a child receives during the first 3.5 years has an effect on education, social life, and romantic relationships even 20 to 30 years later. In addition to that, the Minnesota Longitudinal Study of Risk acknowledged that parental behavior is just one of many influences on development and gives other examples of socioeconomic status and environment. I'd have to say I agree with both of these statements. I believe parental behavior during childhood does affect a person's development in these areas. For example, babies learn through imitation. But I also believe it's one of many factors that affect development overall. In support of early emotional effects on future success, I agree that early life experiences help establish lifelong patterns of behavior. For example, academic achievements can be predicted by considering the extent to which parents talk to infants and toddlers. Parental affection, involvement, and encouragement of new skills, especially language development, can be early indicators of future academic success. And this was actually in our textbook. I'm going to have to look at the name, Exploring Lifespan Development. But I don't believe emotional support and early childhood experiences act alone in shaping an individual. I believe some personality traits such as temperament and some genetically influenced characteristics which are present at birth might also predispose someone towards success. The theory of stability highlights the importance of heredity in this matter. An example of temperament influencing parental behavior would be the idea that a parent converses less with shy children than sociable children. And an example of a biological influence could be a mother conversing with a toddler-aged girl more than she would a boy. The genes relating to height and facial symmetry might also be factors in success in adulthood. And as we know, height and growth are largely influenced by heredity. On a side note, the lifespan perspective in our textbook also provides more factors like historical, social, cultural influences that affect development. So my answer to the original question is yes. I do think early emotional support can have an effect on all these areas in your life, but I want to emphasize it's not the only thing. It's a collaboration of the multifaceted world of human development. For question number 3, do you think it's possible that early experiences influence anxiety disorders in adolescence? Why or why not? In our textbook, Exploring Lifespan Development, Erik Erikson's theory of psychosocial development provides evidence that the quality of caregiving in early years is crucial to building trust, and if conflict is not resolved in a positive way, it could result in mistrust. I believe that trust versus mistrust in an infant has a significant influence on how we perceive the world, if one sees it as safe and gratifying or scary and dangerous. Anxiety is a natural human reaction to danger, but without consistency, I can imagine it would be difficult to gain coping skills needed to navigate an unpredictable world, which could result in anxiety disorders. Supportive guidance can also make a huge difference in self-confidence and autonomy in a developing toddler, which could impact major personality traits that reverberate into adulthood. Lack of parental support can result in feelings of shame and self-doubt, which can also contribute to development of anxiety disorders. However, I want to note that doesn't mean people cannot recover from bad childhood experiences. I'm a firm believer that personality has the ability to influence how one chooses to react to life experiences. From my personal life, my late fiance and his older brother grew up in an extremely abusive, volatile household with low economic status and poor environment. My late fiance would always say he would be fine because his parents taught him what not to do. His brother, on the other hand, he had to become one of the monsters to protect himself. Two people growing up in the same environment, two completely different outcomes. I think the research on resilience is really interesting in this kind of situation. The ability of one to adapt effectively in the face of developmental threats. I think some of what I was reading suggested that there could be a genetic influence on certain characteristics that make some people more adaptable. There was high intelligence and socially valued skills that can increase the likelihood of success despite one's circumstances. So I'd really, if anything, I'd like to research a little bit more about resilience, what makes some people more adaptable in bad situations. I guess that's it for my final question. I'm looking forward to hear what everyone else's take was on it.